I'm Leonardo. I live in Brussels, Belgium. I made the movie Julie Keeps Quiet, which is my feature debut or my first feature.
Mhm.
And um, it's a story about tennis and silences that yearn to be heard.
Thanks a lot for your time and your kindness, Leonardo. So let's talk about your film. Let's talk about Julia Keeps Quiet. What is the film is really talking about, and how do you get to the main plot?
So it's hard to say how I got there because there were, let's say, like, many kind of like intentions and everything came together in this story. Um, I think I was very inspired actually by the story of Antigone or that character. Antigone. It's a Greek tragedy by Sophocles. The story is probably 2,500 years old. She is the first character who almost is making a plea for human rights, and that's so interesting about is why the story today is still very accurate, and like in every kind of like like a time and being, the story gets retold and gives a new context to the presence we live in, and that's all because like it's about a character who dares to say no. And I wanted to do, I guess, a little bit the same within this time frame about a topic that is very, very polarized and has become very, very political and technical. And I was like, you know what? I will write a story about this 15-year-old girl. Her coach gets suspended because there is suspicion of transgressive behavior. The club invites all um, players to go and give a testimony and share their experience with that coach. And Julie decides not to do that. She
Mhm.
decides to keep quiet. And for me, there is in that act, in that decision, there is a lot of movement and power because by telling this world, like, no, I will not go and speak, by choosing to keep quiet, she demands actually that world please listen to me and sit in with me and understand all the reasons why somebody would preferably maybe choose to keep quiet rather than speaking out. And that was for me a very interesting like question to work with or something, because if we start to understand why people, like, we can encourage people to speak and share like always like their experiences, but maybe it's more interesting to start to understand why people rather uh, still keep quiet instead of pushing them and putting even more responsibility and pressure on people to go and speak and always like fight certain kind of like injustices.
Mhm. So, Leonardo, what do you want the audience think or talk about after watching the film?
Well, I think the silence of Julie, in that way, I left it very open, because I hope that everybody in a way like can project their own silence into the story. And like, because in one way or the other we are all Julie, we all carry silence, we have all things that like in a way like the, let's say, we choose not to disclose, because for many various reasons, but there is, because we are maybe oppressed, so we are not allowed to speak, or but sometimes it's also really like a way of protecting yourself.
Mhm. Okay, you are talking about Julia, Tessa Van Den Broek. Yes,
Mhm.
okay. Well, congratulations. She's amazing at at the film. How did you choose her? How did you find her?
Well, so for me, it was clear to work with real tennis players in that way that um, I was not looking for actors and then like maybe like give them a coach and so they can study how to become a tennis player, because that's impossible. You cannot learn tennis in 6 months. So I was
Mhm.
like, we need to go and scout, like really like in the tennis clubs, young tennis players, and I will try to catch, like if they have a kind of like talent for acting, and then I have 6 months to prepare them for the movie set. And I think Tessa already walked in on day 2 or something, and it was clear that she was Julie, because like she is, first of all, a fantastic actress, and secondly, she also has a great personality. And I knew that a role like Julie would be safe with her, and that she also would be safe from that role, because it's kind of heavy. And I did not want, to work with somebody that with the risk that the role, maybe after we finished the movie, would haunt her. So, but she did fantastic, and she really did it as if she were a professional actress.
Chapeau. Leonardo, everybody talks about the way that you shoot, the way you film, because you mainly did medium and long shots. What's the reason because of that?
The thing is that we shot it on film, and like if you shoot on film in that way, that it obliges you already to take certain decisions, and it's like you cannot do whatever or something, go on a set and just like, let's see what goes or something. So everything was very well directed. I really rehearsed a lot with all the teenagers, to get the mise en scène right. Mm-hmm. So once on set, then that was just clear what we were going to do, and they just had to like say their lines and repeat it, and we capture it, and hopefully like not more than 3 takes. And for me, in that way, like the choose for more wide and medium was also I felt like we didn't need much more in a way to tell the story, because I was more, let's say, like, because we rehearsed so much, I had so much confidence in the actors. Mm-hmm. I was more like, we just need to capture it, almost like it's theater. And I also wanted, I guess, like to keep some distance from this character, Julie, who in the end, like I always say, that she did not choose for her silence, and nor to be in the center because of it. So, like in that way, I wanted to give her some space. The interesting thing, though, is that sometimes I get the questions like, why do you only, like use close-ups in your movie? And I'm like, but no, there's only like one close-up, I think, in the whole movie. But I think that it's, again, like, because Tessa is such a great actress, that even like in a medium, in that way, like like people are so drawn to her, and like that they see it as a close, and that I think is very interesting, because shooting on film, you don't have that, like that monitor where you can see it all or something. So you also rediscover your movie while editing or something. And it was only when I started showing it to people or something that I really felt that, what impact that Tessa had on making the movie. And even, I think because of her, the movie even became more silent, because she was so good in conveying Julie's journey.
Mm-hmm. Another piece that is very important in your film, I think, that is the light treatment. Tell me why you decide to make this kind of photography, that is dust and downs and this kind of chiaroscuro.
The image, you will see in the beginning that it's really like very more dark, very gray, but then little by little more light, like starts to enter the frame. And the same is with how we used also like the depth of field. In the beginning, everything around her is very blurry, and little by little, like the people around her also become more sharp, as she starts to connect with it. And it's really that idea that Julie is very uncomfortable in the beginning of the movie with, being in that center to claim that frame. But by the last shot, like she is in that center, and she claims the frame, and she's ready to, continue her life and leave what's happened in one way or the other behind her. So everything was about, like, I guess, like about rebirth, about growth, about reincarnation, about let's say going from the winter to the summer in that way. And so that was the concept that I developed with Nicolas. And at the same time, he also really urged to shoot it on film. And I'm really very happy with that, because, that's also like in that way, like it was almost like a dramaturgical decision.
I have read some interviews about your movie, and in every single interview, there's something very important: the sound of silence.
I worked with the New York-based composer Caroline Shaw, who, like she's a very, successful composer who has experience in pop, folk, but also working with choir music. And
Mhm.
so we decided that we wanted a team that is like a kind of like it's not with words. It's very intuitive, but it is like a cappella. Like, and it's like it's this siren of Julie. So everything, what is she cannot, like that she, like sits on, that she holds within, like it gets out through the music or something. I like to think in that way um that she and Julie created this, like this sound themselves, and that and I wasn't part of it.
Leonardo, an amazing job. Thanks one more time for your collaboration. Thanks a lot. Please let us know if you are coming to Barcelona. You are invited to our cinema. You are invited to see any movie or to discuss about cinema
Mhm.
whenever you want. You know where we are. Leonardo, thanks a lot. Thanks.
Thank you so much for taking time and giving voice to Julie's story.